Finding foster homes for Volusia County's dogs and cats. That's next time on Best Friends on Four Legs. Hi, I'm Wendy Jackson, and this is Best Friends on Four Legs. Finding temporary foster homes for cats and dogs. That's the role of Halifax Humane Society's Adoption Ambassadors Program. My guests today are Adrian Gammon, Karen Morgan, and Lori Morgan with Halifax Humane Society, and they brought some special four-legged guests today, Clint, Kira, and Blake. Thanks to you ladies for joining me, and thank you for bringing some little friends here. We appreciate that. I want to first start out by saying that Halifax Humane Society is important to the city of Deltona because when our code enforcement officers collect animals on the streets and we don't know, if they have homes or not, we take them to Halifax, and Halifax checks them out and then helps us hopefully reunite them with their owners. But then if that's not possible, then you guys help us with an adoption program.
Correct.
So that's why Halifax is important, and that's why you guys are always here to share your programs with us. Today we're going to talk about the ambassador program. Adrian, tell me a little bit about what that means and what the program does.
The program is part of the fosters. Basically, the foster will take the animal from the day that it comes in, will take care of it, find it a home.
Oh, really? So are these animals that need special care, or how do you determine if an animal needs to be fostered?
If they're underage, if they're orphans, don't have their mothers or their mothers, and if they need bottle feeding, some animals could be sick, just need some extra TLC because they're scared. So in that standpoint, we do put them in the foster program, and the fosters have an option whether to bring the animal back when it's ready for adoption and put it up for adoption at the shelter, or the ambassadors, they will keep the animal, find the animal a home, and do the adoption paperwork so the adopter never has to come to the shelter.
So tell me a little bit about the Morgans and how they decided they were going to become ambassadors.
Well, they came in a year ago and took 2 kittens to foster, and we ask our fosters, if you're able to or you have someone interested in adopting, that's wonderful. If not, they can bring the animals back to us. Well, they got their first 2 adopted, and then
These were kittens?
Kittens. They're strictly kitten
They're
people.
Cat people.
And then they just kept continuing, and then when we got the grant from the ASPCA for the Adoption Ambassador Program, they became our first 2 ambassadors, and by the end of the month they'll have approximately 60 cat/kittens adopted.
Wow.
In a year.
So are they your record?
Oh yeah.
So tell me a little bit about this idea that you guys had, or how did you decide you wanted to do this?
Well, we saw 2 kittens featured on Facebook from a friend of ours who also fosters, and she said they were at Halifax and they needed to be in a foster home as soon as possible because they were orphans. We said definitely, we kind of have a theme, we want to make a difference. There's so much negativity in the world right now or in the news, and we said, well, what can we do that really will make a difference? So we went down, we met Adrian, we took Max and Nico home, and kind of the rest is history after that. We just couldn't imagine not seeing them go into their forever home, so that was our commitment to them.
So it's different from like a typical adoptee program because it doesn't necessarily mean that these ladies have to keep these cats. It just means that they're temporarily finding. And you guys get them because they kind of obviously Carrot needed her bottle here, but that's because these. Tell me a little bit about these 3 that you brought today, I guess.
They actually are from 3 different litters. Clint was in a kennel by himself. And we don't like that. We don't like anyone being alone. So
How old was he, do you think, Adrian, when you got him? Like young?
4 weeks, 6 weeks?
4 to 6.
4 to 6 weeks. So he was eating on his own and everything. And Lori and Karen came up, and he was actually next to another kitten, which he was also alone. So they took both of them, and now they're best friends.
Okay. And we have Clint. What's his story?
This is Blake.
Oh, sorry, Blake. I have Clint.
And I'm not sure, was Blake with his mom?
Blake
or?
and his brother, his twin brother Dalton, were with his mom, but they were underage. You know, they were small, and the shelter environment is not the best place for them to be, you know, as nursing kittens. So we took them home, which also in return opened up the cage so that if another animal in need came in, that cage would be available for them. So really, it's a wonderful process all the way across the board. So their mom, Sadie, has since weaned them, but we still have Sadie, Blake, and Dalton with us, and we're committed to make sure that all 3 of them find a forever home, not just the kittens, but also the adult cats. So we go to different events, we Facebook, we use whatever social media that we can find to make people aware of the need for both adult and kittens to be adopted.
So tell me a little bit about what's a day like in your home. Like, you're feeding cats all day? Or?
Well, early in the morning we get up and feed them, and throughout the day there's just a lot of work of cleaning up after them, and they like to be fed 24/7. So it's a lot of feeding, and is this one wants her baba.
And how many do you have at a time usually?
Well,
We usually have 3 to 4 litters at a
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
At least that. So that's a number. And that's our commitment. We want people to know that if you want to be a foster or a foster ambassador, that can mean 1 kitten. It can be a litter. You know, it's really whatever your passion or your home will allow for it too, because we're advocates to see the program really grow. The more it grows, the more these little guys will have a voice in the community, which is what we want them to have.
So Adrian, tell me a little bit about the requirements for becoming an ambassador, or if people are interested in joining the program, what?
They have to be 18. We do have them, to be a foster, you also have to be a volunteer. So you need to go through the volunteer orientation, and then I usually do the fosters right after. You can be a temporary foster, that way when the animals are ready for adoption, they can come back to the shelter and be placed on our floors. Or you can go and actually be the ambassador, where you would keep the animal, bring it in for surgery, take it back home, find it a home, do the paperwork, and collect the payment. So like I said, the adopters don't have to come to the shelter.
So the volunteer program starts at Halifax, and you're the teacher, I'm assuming, or the instructor?
No, I'm the foster transfer.
Okay.
I do that orientation. The volunteer manager will do the volunteer portion of it.
And how many ambassadors do you have?
Just a handful right now, but we want to expand. Right now it's mostly cats, but we do want to get adult dogs out into the ambassador homes. It does, if you empty 1 kennel, you can save up to 16 additional lives just on the 1 kennel.
Wow.
So the more we can get out into the community where they're being seen, because some people, they say it's heartbreaking to come to the shelter.
Yeah.
And you have so many animals that need homes. So we're hoping this program, they go for a walk, they go to the park, and they will have an Adopt Me vest. And then the foster can say, well, if you like them, you can interact, and we can do the paperwork.
So do you have some examples of like dogs that maybe you've placed, or?
Karen and Lori did place 1 of our puppies, and then 2 boxer mix puppies were adopted through the ambassador program. And we're working on.
And they were young, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah, they were puppies, but we do have an adult named Pearl who has been in foster for quite some time with an ambassador. Today is her last injection for her heartworm treatment. So she really needs a home. So we've been putting her on our Facebook, and trying to get her adopted.
I have one that's ready to go. Just like, let me out of here. What's the average time that an animal might stay in an ambassador's home?
It depends on their age. Right now, if they're, they have moms with kittens that are just a few days old. So that could be, 8 to 12 weeks. Adult dogs, on the average, according to the ASPCA, is about 3 weeks.
Gotcha. And the adoptions, you're saying that if they go ahead and find a forever home for an animal, do they even have to bring them back to Halifax, or they can do it all themselves?
They can do everything themselves. They do come up for vaccinations and for surgery, but that would be it.
So how soon do you place a pet in an ambassador's home after you make an assessment of their need? And then what's the time period between they can go to an ambassador home?
Normally, if it's small kittens, we'll get them out right away. We do have a stray period that we are required to hold an animal. It's a 72-hour hold. But if they're special needs like kittens, orphans, moms with babies, we do get them out right away. But if the owner does come looking for them, we know where they are.
So Lori and Karen, how do you think you've been so successful with the big turnover? 60, right?
Yes.
Well, we obviously started with a passion, but we have a lot of support. Through Halifax Humane Society, we receive the support that we need. And we also have, through the training classes that Adrian spoke about, we have a network of fosters now, and we'll Facebook each other, we'll text each other about different things that are going on. And we have great partnerships in the community as well. We attend a minimum of one event a week.
Oh, wow.
So we partner either with maybe some of the local pet stores. We also have transfer partners that rescues that, maybe they'll share an event with us as well. So it's a great partnership all the way across the board. So, and we've learned a lot in this last year, a lot.
What does the grant provide, Adrian?
It provided the financial portion that we needed to get the program up and running, the Adopt Me vest, the bandanas, creating all the manuals, leashes. They all say either Adopt Me, the leashes say Adopt Me, part of the Adoption Ambassador program. So it really helps, and they're always there with the support. They have a Facebook page where we can work with other shelters that are also doing the program.
Gotcha. What animals is it just dogs and cats, or are there other animals you can?
We get other animals, but if it's say a critter, a rabbit, stuff like that, we will put them up for adoption for a few days. If they don't get adopted, they do go to a critter rescue. So
how does a potential ambassador find you, or find the volunteer program first, I guess?
They can go to our website. They can email us, Facebook. They can private message through Facebook, and just call the shelter.
And do you provide, I guess, if a family or couple's coming in to look for a pet, do you provide guidance on what they should, help with picking a dog or a cat, or picking
Absolutely.
a breed? Or
we do ask everyone to fill out a cat or a dog survey, and we ask them to answer the questions, and it kind of gives us an idea what they're looking for. We have everything broken down into 3. If you want something very active that you want to go running with, we have those. If you want someone that's just going to lay around and be a couch potato, we have those. And then you have in between,
right?
Enough energy for you, but we'll also, and our employees are very knowledgeable about each and every animal, and they will literally walk you through and point you in the direction of what kind of personality, what you're looking for.
And your ambassador fostered animals, are those included when someone comes in and like, or are you just looking at the shelter
That's
animals?
more just the shelter. If someone calls in and says we want a kitten at this particular age, we will get their name and phone number and give their information to one of our ambassadors that has the kittens or whatever age that they're looking for. But they're always on our website.
And the
Were
neat
you-
thing about being an ambassador too is obviously we know everything about them.
Right, sure.
They've lived with us for, a minimum of 4 weeks, maybe 12 weeks. Example, I had a young professional call and say, I'm looking for a cat that's not going to be so active because I work from home 8 hours a day, but I do want a companion. And so I asked a few questions about that. We sat with 3 cats and discussed their personalities. And I felt like from the very beginning we had a great match with one of our moms. So an adult cat was adopted, and we just received a text this morning with pictures showing how great they're getting along. And it was a perfect match all the way across the board with the personality. So we spend a lot of time. I believe that animals provide so much health support. If you have anxiety, if you have depression, anything like that, an animal can help support you during those times as well. If you're dealing with autism in the household, and a lot of times there was a really neat video on Facebook where a cat was a support cat to a child with autism, and everything that cat did to nurture the young woman. So the animals are just amazing,
Right.
what they can bring and how they can enrich people's lives.
Do you guys ever have one that you can't let go?
Yeah, we've been foster failures.
That's what you call it?
Yes.
So did you have any pets of your own before you started?
We had some dogs, and yeah, we had a cat as well, or 2, or
Is there
3.
any conflict there?
No,
That's good.
no, they all get along.
And your mode of transport when you have I don't know anything about transporting a cat. Did you bring them all together
Yeah, and a carrier.
and they got along fine?
Yeah.
Great. Well, Adrian, do you have anything else you want to tell me about the program?
We are also, as part of the foster, we're looking for people who would like to foster dogs for a temporary. We do have a program, Prison Pups and Pals.
Mm-hmm.
And what we would like to do is get some fosters that are willing to foster for like 2 weeks, every 6 to 8 weeks. That way the animals can have their surgery, recuperate before they actually go out to the prison and start their program.
And what do they do when they're in the program?
They get 7 weeks of obedience training. They get training all day, but Monday through Friday they do a group 1-hour class every day, and it's absolutely amazing what these young, older inmates, they learn. The animals are with them 24 hours a day, and it gives the dogs a good chance because they're usually adopted before they graduate, and it gives the inmates something to use for when they start their lives again.
So tell me where Halifax is.
We're on the corner of 95 and LPGA. Our entrance is directly across the street from the auto mall.
And you can see pretty much all of your potential adopted pets online, right?
Correct.
Cool. Okay, Adrian, tell me a little bit about the adoption process for people that want an animal.
Okay, if they come to the shelter, every animal does have to be spayed or neutered before it is adopted. Once that's complete, they would come in after the surgery and do the adoption paperwork. With the adoption, the animal is microchipped, vaccinated, has rabies, spayed or neutered. They get up to 45 days of pet insurance, which is health insurance for pets. They get a free visit with any local veterinarian on the list. The exam itself is covered. And then if they have any questions, they're always...
So what's the fee? Like they're paying for the surgery?
Cats and kittens are all $50, which includes everything. And then our dogs, most of them are at $70, but we do have a variable pricing. If we do have a more highly adoptable animal, we may put their price up a little higher to help us with all the animals that we do
Right.
take care of on a daily basis.
Now, you have a spay or neuter program for residents that are just interested in surgery for an existing pet, right?
Correct. You can take your privately owned animal to our Redinger clinic with an appointment. It's very inexpensive. You can also get a microchip, full vaccinations for privately owned animals.
Gotcha. Well, thanks you guys for joining me. This is Wendy Jackson. This is another edition of Best Friends on Four Legs, and I hope you'll join us again next month.